Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Block, The Shot, The Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. And tonight, we season preview it up, folks. Tim Daniel here with the crew, Kevin Lynch, Skylar Webker. Skylar Webker is so dedicated that he is not at home and still hopped on to do a show tonight. So we appreciate it, my guy.
Hey, I wouldn't miss it.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Each of us bringing a different topic to for our season preview show. Well, as you know, we've covered all 4 preseason games. We did our recap game shows right after. So we have turned the page. We are on to what matters and what counts. And we're getting ready for Wednesday night in Toronto. And the Cavs guys dropped a little sneak peek on us before we go live here. Let me figure out here on the StreamYard how to share my screen, because they leaked a little sneak peek at their city jersey for the upcoming year. So I want to go ahead and get this up here with the blue here with it's going to have the land across it, pretty similar to last year's land logo. Obviously today is the day the NBA celebrates its National Jersey Day. So I have to say, I really like it. I like the color scheme. I always love blue and white together. I don't know, like, if I'm secretly a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, I don't know if I'd go that far. But I do think it's a good look. I know it's definitely polar opposite from what the Cavs normally wear. But I dig it. You guys have thoughts on it?
I think you're more of a jersey guy than me. I care more how they play in it.
That's fair. Yeah. And we suspect they'll play well in it. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm more of a classic. I like more the old school. If they wore like the throwback, like mid '80s jersey, I'd get more excited about that.
Me too.
Yeah, this blue kind of hints to those mid '80s, '90s jerseys. The black and baby blue. I don't know. I think Nike has kind of saturated the NBA's City Connect jersey because there's a new one every single year.
Yeah, I agree.
But I dig it. I like it. I like the one from 2 years ago, the white with the light ice blue.
Mm-hmm.
I thought those were sick.
My favorite is actually, I have it in my hand here. Just was so happy to be sitting next to me. That was not planned, I promise. Is the when they did the 70th anniversary where they mixed all the jerseys together. Like, yeah, I like this one a lot. So I have the Mobley one it's from his rookie year. But my all-time favorite Cavs jersey, did not mean for this to be a topic, but hey, let's have some fun. Season preview show. Is actually, I really like the late 90s. Like after Mark Price, we're looking like the Brevin Knights or L. Brandon era of the Cavs with Drew Zagalski's first few years in the league, where it was the Sean Kemp era. The black one with the blue stripe through it with the orange numbers. Those are my favorite Cavs jerseys. I really was bummed in the LeBron era. He kept asking for them to wear those as a throwback, and they never did. And so they wore them a couple years ago. I think one of Kevin Love's last year's, and I think maybe Garland's rookie year it was. Yeah. But I love those shirts. Those are my favorite Cavs jerseys ever.
Oh, my favorite are, I think, the ones that you're wearing right now with the big, late or early 2000s. Those ones are my favorite as far as a throwback, I would say.
Also, like one of the best Cavs eras ever was these jerseys. So
right. The introduction to LeBron. Yeah.
The blue jersey of this, I can't find for a good price anywhere, and I don't want to DH gate it because it's such a great jersey. And because like with the kind of the, let's say, checkered like pin around the That's my favorite from that group. I actually kind of like the DeJuan Wagner, Darius Miles era one with the bold calves across it. I like those a lot too. I could make this a whole show, but let's get to why you guys are here. Though we could happily talk Jersey talk. So each of us kind of thought of different things. We'll just kind of get there, but let's kind of start with some of the news that came out since our show Friday. Skylar, we were on the air Friday literally saying, we don't think this Max Strus thing is going to be all that serious. We were wrong. So he will be out 6 weeks, it looks like, is the conversation right now. But when
it's due to a different injury.
Yeah.
So he was initially out in the preseason games for a hip contusion, and then now it said that he sprained his ankle in that final preseason game practice. So kind of just more bad luck piling on top of each other.
Yeah, and so it's obviously a bummer, but I think even though that's kind of the way we always talk about, that's the fifth of the starting five, I still feel pretty good about where they are in the case of who they have there. So kind of curious your guys' thoughts if you had anyone you were kind of leading to be the candidate to have that role in the time being. I think I would probably go Dean Wade to kind of start in that time frame. I think he really played the best of those other options in the preseason. And I think the Leverts and the Okoros, I think, are going to be really good situations for your team.
I don't hate that call at all. But I would say Okoro only because I think, they desperately lack wing defense and everything. And I just think Okoro complements the other four starters maybe as well as anybody else on the roster, just having, kind of different skills. So that's how I go. I definitely could see Dean Wade having a bigger role, getting more minutes, but I think I'd probably go with Okoro in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think I'm with Tim on Dean Wade. Just a little more of a complimentary shooting piece, I would say, especially from the line. I was going to say Tyson, but I already had a hot take on Friday. I have 2 hot takes in a row.
Sure you can. That's why we bring you on board. That's why you're on the team. I would not hate if Jalen Tyson started, even though I know he's not ready to start, just to see what it would be like. You know what I mean? Like when the Lakers play Bronny, he's not ready, but it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like when he's on the floor at a game that matters. Even though they got smoked on Friday, he looked pretty fun. But yeah, I think either one of those two, I think we're all in agreement. You keep Levert in the current role he's in because he has 6th Man of the Year candidate upside. I don't know. I mean, and he's kind of he's like elevated that role majority of his career. You can kind of look at the numbers compared to when he started and when he wasn't starting. I don't really look a lot into necessarily quote unquote the starting five. I care more about who's on the floor in crunch time. And I still think you can get by with having Levert on the floor in crunch time because of his shot making ability. So I care more about that than I do necessarily who's in the starting five.
Yeah, of course. I couldn't agree more. And it honestly, as much as we're evaluating everything, it's probably going to be different game to game, depending on the matchup they're playing, who has a hot hand, all that kind of things. So I think all 3 guys, Levert, Wade, Okoro, are going to play that role at some point, and probably somebody else that we're not even mentioning right now.
Jalen Tyson.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, they got 6 weeks to figure it out.
I was going to
6 weeks to try it out.
Give him a week at least into his rookie year before you throw him.
Amani Bates? We feeling the Amani Bates train?
He's still recovering, isn't he?
I was going to say, he's not back yet, is he?
No, I think we got a little bit of time for that. But all right, so let's go ahead and go through here, guys. I have Sydney brings up Sam Merrill. I know Skylar is a Sam Merrill fan, a big one. I'll have to send you. I have Sam Merrill rookie cards that are sitting in a box. I'll send them to you. So.
Nice.
Yeah, obviously not in a Cavs jersey, but still. Yeah. So each of us kind of bringing a few different things to the table today because we want to kind of have a little bit of a fun season preview for everybody. If you're in the chat, wherever you are, and you want to tag along and ask questions, please do. We'll definitely get to those as well. But I was starting with my favorite. I want to list some of the favorite Cavs best bets that are going out right now and kind of get your guys' thoughts. And I don't want to take this too long because I do have a lot listed. But some of my favorites that I saw were, by the way, ESPN right now has the Cavs as the 3rd best chances in the East to win the title behind the Knicks and the Celtics, with the 6% chance to win the title. I think the Celtics are at like 13%. I think the Knicks are at 9%. I don't have it right in front of me, but
what are the West teams ahead of them?
Dallas, Denver,
OKC,
and OKC. Yeah.
Okay.
So good group of 6 to be in for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, right now, FanDuel has the Cavs at plus 4,000 odds to win the title. I think that's a great long shot bet. The over-under's at 48.5. I've already said I'm taking the over. I really think they're going to be good. Kevin has texted us off air that he has taken the Central Division odds at plus 250.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think, I know that Wembanyama's basically already won it, though he shouldn't. I really think I'm going to take Evan Mobley for most improved player plus 1,400 with how he's looked in Atkinson's offense. So those are my favorite bets of the year for the Cavs. Well, sneaky one I really like is Donovan Mitchell, season 3-point leader at plus 5,500.
Jesus.
No, those are all good. I'll throw out my favorite one, and I forget it was somewhere around the plus 1,800 or something, and that's just the Cavs to make the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, I think like to win the championship, that's so many things have to go right, but for them to make the Eastern Conference Finals, they're for sure one of the best like 4 teams in the East, and you get the right matchup. You know, another team has an injury, they just play really well. Making the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's a really nice bet with a big payout. So, looking at the Cavs odds, that was my favorite.
Yeah, Skylar, do you have any from the list I sent over?
I'm actually trying to look up right now because Sydney had in the chat. Sid had in the chat the Evan Mobley Defensive Player of the
Plus
Year.
1,400. Yeah.
I think that one might be easy money.
Yeah, it should be a situation. It should be at least a conversation because, like I've said, and I said this on the happy hour last week for those who listen to that as well. I feel like it's really dumb that we've already given Victor Wembanyama awards, even though I love him. I think he's gonna be great. I took him number 2 overall in our fantasy draft tonight. I really, really love him, but I really feel like the fact that we're just like penciling him already for these things is kind of silly because Mobley's a top 4 defensive player in the league. You can make the case for, and I do also like. It's very unlikely, but Evan Mobley blocks leader is plus 25,000. I mean, how do you bet that? I mean, it's like it's an easy $10 bet.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So Victor is on the trajectory that he's going to win a lot of awards.
Yeah,
and predicting him to win them isn't. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But the two things, he's, you know, because of his size and the way he plays, he's a pretty big injury risk to miss a lot of time, and the Spurs still aren't going to be that good. That's a difference. Like guys like Mobley, they're going to be on, you know, teams that are a top 3 or 4 seed in their conference. Like, and awards typically go to guys on successful teams. So I don't think it's a bad play, you know, looking at Mobley or even some other guys for some of those awards that Victor is like the far and away favorite for.
Yeah. Sydney asked odds on Jared Allen being the rebound leader, plus 20,000. That's not really insane to me either, because he is such a good rebounder. Especially he's really good on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's almost, the problem is him and Mobley kind of like working with each other, because most teams don't have 2 big guys who are extremely good rebounders in their lineup. They kind of almost like hurt each other for going for stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin, you were traveling on Friday, so I don't know how much you got to see of the game Friday, if any. I am really I know we've talked about how we're excited we're for the Atkinson offense, and this is kind of going away from my conversation, but the high-low those 2 are running, where they're making defenders make a decision who they're going to attack, has really become my favorite wrinkle in the Kenny Atkinson offense, because Mobley is such an underrated passer. And just watching, like, Mobley will have the ball at the elbow, and Allen will cut into the paint, and there's a defender in front of them, and he has to make a choice. I think it's gonna be something that's gonna be really, really nice for this team through the season.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I'm almost like kind of looking ahead. What's the next wrinkle? Because that's only going to work for so long or so many times. But then you're going to have, you know, one of your small forwards like cutting on the weak side, or like Mitchell like going off a rub screen to like, you know, spot up in the corner or something like that. So it'll be interesting how much of a focal point that is of the offense, and how many things kind of play off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a big. I think that is the wrinkle, honestly, not having Jared Allen and Evan Mobley kind of stand in the paint and feed it to him. I mean, we saw Jared Allen cutting into passing lanes. We saw big high-low situations quite a bit. So I think having these bigs be able to be movable within an offense, I think that's going to be a lot. And we have two of the best bigs to have in that role because they're tall, skinny, athletic guys that can get up and down the court quickly. It's not the days of Shaq of getting Big Diesel up and down the court.
It's not even the days of last year where they had those really slow moving dribble DHOs that you were like, okay, the defense is already in the spot to stop whatever you're going to try to do here.
Yeah.
And I think Allen is so good as just someone who just kind of gets downhill and is a rim attacker. So just having that wrinkle in the offense, I think, is really nice. But yeah, Kevin's right. At some point, if they go on a 7-8 game win streak, that's the thing people are going to attack. And then it's okay. What's the next situation there? And I think Skylar, as you've been talking about, and we'll move to your guys' conversation here after this conversation. You've talked a lot about Darius Garland through the preseason, how much you've been really, really happy with him. And I agree. I think that his quick hands, filling passing lanes defensively, he shot the ball great Friday night. I think that's going to change so many things for this team as well, because when they do have that situation, if Garland he looks like he's recovered. He looks like he's put his weight back on, and he's so dynamic as an athlete, as far as just being faster than most people on the court, that I really think that with him kind of adding that, when they do attack that, he's going to be some guy who pops off a screen, he has the ball in his hands. Or I really think that if they can get this thing going, they run those high screens, he's going to be really good in the drive and dish game with the shooters around him.
Yeah, I agree. We saw the more willing to shoot and able to shoot Darius Garland in that last preseason game, where last year he kind of fell into the facilitator role. So now that we're going to get the offensive presence of Garland again, that adds another hiccup to a defense, another wrinkle to the offense. And we saw a lot of just open shot creation in the offense that last game. Not all the shots went down, but that's not every night. A lot of nights those shots are going to hit. So I think having 4 dynamic scorers on your starting 5, that's pretty hard to stop.
What's your Darius Garland hot take for the year, Skylar? Bring it on. Comeback player of the year?
It's not a bad one.
I should look the odds of that one. I don't think I did.
Can I go? I feel like assist leader is too easy.
Is it?
I mean, if you have 3 other dynamic scorers around you, it should be easy.
Sure.
And you have the offensive efficiency to run the offense.
You're right, but we're also talking about a guy who I love, but is not afraid to shoot.
Man. Yeah, he'll shoot it himself. But maybe that's it. I think he finishes top 5 in assists this year.
Yeah. My funny one was I said that I think the Cavaliers are going to be the Eastern Conference representative in the NBA Cup, playing the Nuggets in the finals, and Darius Garland will be the NBA Cup MVP.
I keep forgetting about the in-season stuff. Like that's good stuff to either bet on or just kind of another wrinkle to pay attention in the season.
I really loved it. What were your guys' thoughts on it? I thought it was really fun.
I thought it was awesome, and somebody said it right. Even now, LeBron took it seriously, so everyone else took it seriously, and I think that was so important for the first one, and kind of setting the tone that it's a real thing that people are going to pay attention to, or get up for, all the kind of things. So I loved it because the players are into it. It's the same reason I hate the All-Star game now, because the players don't care about it, so it's not fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So all right, well, I think I can go and close my section here. So Kev, you told us you've got some questions you want to ask us. You asked, do you want to give it to us? You want us to spring on us? So we said spring it.
Yeah, I did. Skylar, I'll go to you first, but Tim, I want your answer as well. This is my favorite of the ones. Kind of playing into the betting odds. I made up a betting odds for the Cavs and want to hear what you guys think. Ooh. The Cavs, I set the over-under for Cavs All-Stars at 1.5. meaning
Over.
you have to either take it. Okay, so over or under, but explain why and who and everything.
I definitely think over. I think Donovan Mitchell is the easy
Right.
pencil in.
Agreed.
He's the perennial all-star. So then from there, you just need one more guy to prove it. We're seeing that in the preseason games with Evan Mobley. Jared Allen is always on that cusp or in that conversation. And then if we get the Darius Garland we think we're going to get, I think one of those three guys has the ability to cross that all-star threshold. Now, if you said it at 2.5, I'd probably do the under.
Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. Tim, what do you think?
I'm also going the over strictly because I believe Kenny Atkinson is going to make sure Evan Mobley is an all-star with how he's using him in the offense, and he already has that defensive side. And just to throw a little wrinkle of funsies, Kenny Atkinson will be coaching the East in the All-Star game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
No, it's because it's the team that has the best record at the break.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Yeah. You threw me off there for a second. No, I like, just to throw my 2 cents in. I agree with going over, and with Tim, I narrowed in. I think it will be Mobley for a couple of reasons. One, I do think this is the year Mobley takes a jump and everything. And two, if you look around the East, it's actually easier to make it as a big guy than a guard.
Yeah, it is.
Talents. So even if Garland and Mitchell are both having really good years, it's going to be tough for both of them to make it just because of the other guard talent that is in the East. Right. So, so that's why I think Mobley is, if there's going to be a second one, obviously Mitchell, as you said, Skylar's a no-brainer. If there's going to be a second one, I think Mobley is the most likely second All-Star.
Yeah, I forgot now that we gone back to the East-West format for the All-Star game,
which I love.
You're not competing against Steph Curry and LeBron James and Luka and those guys kind of are competing against themselves. Now you just have to look at who in the East are you competing against? Bam, Giannis.
Yeah.
Guys like that.
Not too much. I mean, Embiid, but all those guys could, well, especially Giannis and Embiid could, be hurt or anything. But when you look at the guards, you're talking about Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton, just to name a few off the top of the head. And they're only going to take maybe 5 or 6 guards. And so it's going to be hard to get two Cavs as guards on that team. But I think there'll definitely be room for one of the big guys. And my money would be on Mobley of the two.
I agree.
Yeah. Cool. And okay, so this other one, we don't need to play GM. You don't give specifics as players and do fake trades and everything, but just in general, what is an in-season move you'd like to see the Cavs make? And that could be a trade, a free agent signing. It could be adjusting the rotation, someone you think might not get a lot of minutes at first, but get more minutes. But so Tim, I'll start with you this time. What in-season move do you think could possibly make the Cavs a better team by the end of the year?
I just think a surefire guy you can pencil into 3 every night is going to be the kind of thing that they should really look for. It's nice to have the quantity they have. But and I'm not saying go get Zach LaVine or something, because I don't think that's a good move. But I think that if they can go get the 3 that they're a really good 3 that's probably getting some minutes somewhere else, they could really blast into their starting lineup, I think it's the spot to go. I do love LeVert. I love Max Strus. I love, as we said, we love Isaac Okoro. But those guys are definitely replaceable. And I think that's kind of what we've been talking about with that kind of revolving door. So if they could go get someone that you're just you can pencil into the 3 every single night and you feel safe, I think is the thing that's keeping them, though Skylar disagrees, from being up there with the Celtics.
Skylar, what about you?
I think I've alluded to it before, but a offensive threat in coming off in the point guard role. So 2 names that I've brought out before was Kobe White. I think would be a good a name to look at. And this is blanking me now. Who did I say in the first preseason episode? Mike Conley. I think a good facilitating point guard that's enough of an offensive threat to draw attention. I think that's going to elevate how much time you can let Mobley and Mitchell and Garland rest in a game and kind of help their longevity and also just keep the offensive rolling off when those guys are sitting.
Guys, I'm going to just tell you, if somehow it were possible, you do not want Kobe White to be on this team if you want to do a podcast with me on a nightly basis. I will be unbearable. I will be miserable to be around because I'll be having so much fun.
You should be like that now.
I am. But Kevin knows how much I love Kobe White.
I'm very aware how much you love Kobe White. Those are both great answers. I think, and I probably talk about too much, but like I think they need perimeter defense is where, they just don't match up well with the Anthony Edwards, the Jason Tatums of the world, things like that. They don't have a guy to go against that. So like I would want to just find a really good 3-and-D guy that has a size and athleticism to play defense on those guys. Like I would love if you go out and find like a healthier version of Jonathan Isaac, because the Magic aren't going to trade him, but like someone like that to maybe be, your eighth man, but in the right matchup is going to play 30 minutes. Right. So that's kind of something I'd love for them to, at least take a look at for throughout the season.
Depending how the Milwaukee season goes, what about Pat Connaughton there?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. Not necessarily the ideal size, but like he's in that 3-and-D range or something that you can find. But yeah, that something like that. Like definitely a 3-and-D guy, and the biggest preference would be somebody with size and athleticism to match up against some of the bigger, very good offensive wings in the league.
Yeah, City brings up Jaden McDaniels. That would be an awesome cast fit.
Right. I think he's a little too valuable.
He is. Vando, depending how the Lakers season goes, Vando's a possibility.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's somebody who, if the Lakers season goes sideways, you might be able to get, for not a lot. Cool. Well, I got one more. And Skylar, I'll go back to you. So we all know the Cavs are basically bringing back the exact same team, right? They're a second round team. So what needs to happen for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals? Basically, how do they become a better team while bringing back the exact same team? What are the biggest keys, you think, Skylar?
I think they've addressed it with the Atkinson era and the coach bringing a whole new coaching staff. I think it's unlocking how these guys either unlocking the next level in cases like Evan Mobley, or unlocking how the rhythm between Garland and Mitchell stays consistent enough where it doesn't kind of hit these, no, you shoot the ball, no, it's your turn to shoot the ball, where it keeps its rhythm. And so I'm hoping that Atkinson addresses that stuff. Or the change to it, Atkinson helps address that stuff.
No, that's a great answer. Tim, what do you think?
I love this. Health is obviously step one.
Sure.
The fact that this team did as well as they did last year with all the games they lost from their top four guys is amazing. But I think the other thing that's really jumping out, and you're seeing it in the preseason, pace of play has picked up so much. This team was tied for first with the Bulls in pace of play as far as in the preseason. And I think that last year they had a tendency to get really stagnant, specifically in the half court. There'd be a lot of like Allen gets the board, pushes it up and then whoever has the ball kind of gets stuck. And I think now what you're kind of seeing is that instinctive decision making from Garland and Mitchell, and even Mobley, like we talked about in this new trailer role he's been using that I'm super, super happy with. And I think that that's going to be kind of the big thing, because if you're, they have two dudes who are super fast who are going to have the ball a lot. And I think that's something they could really use more to their benefit. Again, our goal when we have these conversations about improving from this year to last year, from last year to this year, is never us bashing JB Bickerstaff. That's not the intent. We all feel like he did a really good job. We all feel like he's in a situation that's great for him. But though the no headband rule and stuff is kind of silly to me. But I do think that if they can push the pace and have good health, I think they're very much right there with the Knicks and Celtics.
Yeah, no, I like those answers, especially Skylar. Though your two key points were the same things. I was
nailed it.
thinking. Yeah, like unlocking Mobley and and everything that you said, I completely agree with. The only thing I would add is like, I want this team to become truly great at a couple things. It's the type of team that's very good at almost everything. They're somewhere between above average and very good at everything, but they're not great at many or any things. Like, can we become a great defensive team, or at least a great interior defensive team? Great, like I would say the closest thing they are to great at is rebounding, or is it 3-point shooting, or is it transition? I would love them to become one of the better transition teams in the NBA. So I think that's a very good, like, kind of keep that being above average or very good at a lot of things, but become great at a couple of them that really like separate them from the pack. So yeah, no, I think those are great answers. And yeah, that'll wrap up my segment. I'll kick it to you, Skylar.
Cool.
I need cool like transition music. I need to figure out how to put that in.
So I know Tim's gonna love this segment because he's gonna have all the deep cuts.
You know me too well.
But yeah, to piggyback on, like, this is not only a returning cast, this is a cast that we're going to have for a while. You know, with all the extensions and everything, this is the team for the next 3 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I would say outside of the championship year, where does this team rank in kind of all-time Cavs teams? I'll kick it to you, Kevin, so that then we can have Tim go to town.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, you're right. Like they're about as high as any non-LeBron team, I think.
Yeah.
is where I would go. But like, there's probably 6 LeBron seasons that's probably going to be above where this team is, at least for now. And they have even more successful regular season and get it further into playoffs. You know, that can all change. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking when you're setting this up, like the late 2000s or early 90s, those Brad Daugherty, Mark Price years. I mean, those are some of the years that at least stick out the most to me as some of the best non-LeBron Cavs teams. I would kind of put them right around the same level as them, with while they're also ascending. They're on their way ascending past those teams. That would be kind of my initial reaction.
Yeah, I think kind of picking back up what Kevin said. Yeah, there's definitely the LeBron eras are going to be the one that's kind of talked about the most for this team, but you can probably make the case this team's better than the 08 finals team and the 07 finals team and the 18 finals team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you the 07. The 18 still had LeBron. You know,
so the 07 team, but Larry Hughes was their second best player.
Right.
Where this second best player was Jeff Green in the Eastern Conference Finals. That game 7 against the Celtics was incredible. I don't know how he pulled that out of his hat, but
yeah,
shout out Jeff Green. What an unbelievable cutter that guy was.
Loved Jeff Green when he was a Cav.
Dude, I've loved Jeff Green forever. He's one of my dudes. Like, he plays for everybody. He's an excellent, immaculate grid answer.
Yes, he's one of the best.
Yeah, but yeah, probably that group. Like, Kevin brings up the Mark Price, Brad Daugherty teams. I love those teams. I really love the. I kind of joked about it. I joked about him earlier, but I really love the Terrell Brandon late '90s teams that were just like getting in the playoffs and weren't going anywhere teams. The Brevin Knight teams, if people remember those. Tyrone Hill, obviously being a Xavier guy, someone I'm always gonna be a big fan of. Sydney, he's with the Rockets. Jeff Green is this year. Just saw your question in the chat. I have to imagine he will not be on the Rockets pretty soon because they're going to play all those young dudes.
Yeah.
They'll be a fun team. But I really do like this question. I think it's really fun. Would I put this team against the Jordan over Elo team? It would be a really fun conversation.
I mean, yeah, I think this team, to me, this is one of the better teams. Just top to bottom. Like Kevin said, like, they do everything great. They don't do anything spectacular. But they're well balanced in all facets of the game. You know, I think any non-LeBron team, one of my sneaky favorites was the what year is this? Right before we traded for Donovan Mitchell. That year before.
Oh yeah, the team that lost to Atlanta in the play-in.
Mhm.
Yeah, everybody thought this cat. They voted that this team is going to suck. Like that was the GM votes. Everybody thought that Darius Garland was the worst point guard in the league, and then they just showed up. Like they arrived to a point where Kobe Altman, and I want to give Kobe Altman his flowers too.
Yeah, for sure.
They could be my follow-up segment here, but Kobe Altman felt good enough about trading for Donovan Mitchell because of what this team showed it could do. So that's like one of my sneaky non-LeBron favorite teams. Just that super underdog story.
It's always going to be weird when we look back like 5 years from now and we're like, oh yeah, Lauri Markkanen did play for the Cavs for a year. And he was good.
He was great.
Yeah. Now he's incredible.
Hey, Utah's killing it out there.
Yeah.
And they have their war chest of draft picks that they could do something.
Yeah.
I think kind of before you talk, Skylar, I want the thing you're bringing up here. I think that's really important to talk about when you talk about how this is the team for the time being. They don't have their pick this year. It goes to Indiana because of the Karis LeVert trade. So, thank God they're going to be really, really good because otherwise, this could, like if you're looking at like the Lakers right now or the Clippers, where if the Clippers finish in the top 10 the lottery, that pick goes to OKC of all teams. Like you feel pretty good where the Cavs are.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I want to give Kobe Altman his flowers because he stepped into this job. His first transaction was dealing with the Kyrie Irving trade request. That one didn't pan out. And then
Ante Zizic wasn't good.
I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas and who was the other guy?
Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder, who always has his backpack or who always has a suitcase packed because he's about to go to the next team.
Also a great Immaculate Grid guy.
But yeah, he stepped into this job. That was his first move. And then immediately after having a LeBron James sized crater into your team, and we all know the adage when LeBron leaves a team, that team goes into disarray. And then was able to capitalize on, other teams' disparity or other teams just needing to move guys. Like the perfect example is getting Jared Allen for Dante Exum fleeced just because Brooklyn needed to get him off the roster so that they could bring James Harden in for their Big Three experiment. And then you follow that up with getting LeVert with the injured Ricky Rubio.
Yeah.
So, Drummond. Yeah, I forgot. They did get Drummond too.
For nothing.
So, being able to just kind of get these guys, and then obviously you draft well and Garland and Mobley. So I want to give Kobe Altman his flowers on being able to build this team as well as he has.
No, I think it's a great call, Skylar. He almost, it's almost how he built this team is like, it doesn't happen in the NBA right now because everything in the NBA is nowadays is like, I need to succeed today or tomorrow. And I'm like making a win now trade that like people are, kind of like mortgaging everything for tomorrow with their trades. They don't kind of have the patience to build slowly and then kind of really, really pounce on the right opportunities, but be patient for those. I think he's done an incredible job and shown a lot of patience in doing it where that's kind of a lost trait in the NBA front offices nowadays.
Where I kind of knew he was the guy for the job was how he handled the John Beeline situation. That was a total disaster.
I forgot about that.
And landed on his feet and figured it out. That's unbelievable because people don't get fired for like that, just like out of the blue. And, obviously having JB around really helped out, but Yeah, I think that's an awesome point, Scott. I think you really hit the nail on the head there. He's just always find a way. And Sidney brings it up. He definitely has some misses. Kevin Porter Jr. Porter Jr. wasn't a miss on talent by any means. It just was Kevin Porter Jr. seemed to get in trouble, which he's now on the Clippers. So have fun with that, my guy. I think we all hit our things here. So a couple things before we get out. The first stretch of games here, we kind of talked about that last week as far as not the easiest start to the year. I know you have the Raptors to start who aren't great, but the Knicks game, a lot of traveling between you have Detroit, you go to New York, you come back for the Lakers. What's the game you guys are kind of seeing this first couple weeks that you're most excited about?
New York at New York. New York's going to be one of their top couple rivals in the East. They're going to be maybe the main team standing between them and an Eastern Conference Finals. Like I could very much see the Cavs and the Knicks being the 2-3 seed in some order. And so like honestly, the Knicks, if you gave me the whole NBA, I might be most intrigued for how the Cavs match up with the Knicks.
Yeah, I think second to the Knicks, I'm probably going to pick the Orlando Magic. Just from the repeat of the first round of last year, going all the way to a game 7. But I also like the Knicks because I feel like we're forever going to be tied to the Knicks, both in that first year and then everybody talking about Donovan Mitchell going to the Knicks. I think that's forever going to be a topic or a connection point.
Yeah. Soft answer for me is obviously the Laker game because I'll be there. And obviously it's probably it's one of the last times we'll see LeBron play at the Q. I know it'll always be the Q to me, damn it. Real answer is the night after the Orlando game. Your first back-to-back, you're at Milwaukee. You have to go on it's not necessarily a far travel by any means, but how does they handle the rotation in back-to-backs? How is Kenny Atkinson put this team together 2 nights in a row, playing 2 playoff teams, 2 teams that you guys were kind of like you guys were talking about, our teams are going to be fighting over playoff seeds with. I'm not very high on the Bucks this year. I feel like the moves they made weren't needle movers by any means. And as I've said a million times, I don't love Doc Rivers as a coach. So I feel like he's going to get in his own way. But there's still the Greek Freak, former 2-time MVP, NBA Finals MVP over there, and a crew of guys who have won titles. Now, albeit the news came out today, Chris Middleton's out for a little while. Shocker, I know. But I'm really excited to see that Central Division matchup against the team that's going to be their biggest competition, besides the Pacers for that division.
Yeah, the other thing, not even a specific matchup, but I was looking at the schedule. I noticed they are just playing a lot right out the gates. I think they're playing 11 games in the first 17 days of the season, something like that. I mean, at least 3 back-to-backs in there, at least 2, 3 and 4 nights. Like they're playing a lot. So like their depth is gonna get tested right away. There's guys on the bench, 10th, 11 man that they're gonna be playing those first couple weeks just because they're gonna need to, because they're gonna be they're just pushing so many games into a short time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, guys, I think we can go ahead and wrap up with one last thing here before we go. Keep it under an hour for the peeps who have been listening throughout so far. And thank you so much for hanging out with us. We definitely appreciate it. Let's end it on your bold prediction for the Cleveland Cavaliers of 2024 and 2025 season.
I'll go. I think Evan Mobley makes an All-NBA team. Like, most likely third team, but basically means he's going to be one of the top handful of big men in the league, which is a pretty big jump for him, but he's got that talent.
Agreed.
I don't want to say poor man's, but like his comparison of ceiling to me is Tim Duncan, not like to be Tim Duncan, but maybe a middle-class Tim Duncan or something. Cause I think Tim Duncan's like maybe the most underappreciated basketball player of all time.
Thank you.
But like,
thank you.
I think Evan has the similar skill set to Tim, the similar demeanor, all those things. And I think this year he starts to take a leap to become one of those top 15-ish players in the game.
That's a good take. That's a real good take. I'm going to say that we have more than one award winner on this roster at the end of the year. Be that an MVP, a defensive player in the year, offensive player in the year, coach of the year. I think we have more than one award on this team by the end of the year.
I literally have that written down. Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year ? That is something I wrote down that I didn't get a chance to say, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I like that. All right. Well, you guys, I like your guys' takes. So, all right.
What about yours, Tim?
Donovan Mitchell, top 5 MVP voting.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that hot a take. I think he's set up to have the best season of his career on the best team he's played for. So I don't even think that's that hot a take, to be honest. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, I am. As you can tell, we're really high on this team this year. We feel very good, and what a great first year to have the show, because this is going to be a fun team to watch on a nightly basis. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of the Block the Shot to Stop. Thank you guys for hanging out and doing the preview with us. We'll be back Wednesday night. You'll have the crew of 3 again as we recap the season opener at Toronto. Hopefully a win. And we're going to kind of get into what we saw from that as far as now that the games that count. So thank you guys as always. Please take a moment to subscribe to us on all our socials, bsspod.com, the Block to Stop on Twitter, the Block the Shot to Stop on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't had a chance yet and you found us on your app of choice, please go ahead and give us a nice solid review. It goes a long way for us as we try to fight the man known as Algae Rhythm from Space Jam: A New Legacy. So on behalf of Kevin, on behalf of Skylar, this is Tim Daniel. Thank you so much. 216. We can't wait to hang out with you this year.
Go Cavs.